that this bedroom light switch controls one light. One switch controlling one light. Perfect. Turn off my bench here. Okay. The next one that we're going to do is going to be, we're going to have two switches controlling one light. So what we're going to try to do is to mimic, for example, not a bedroom light, but possibly a hallway or a stairwell where we have two locations of switches controlling one light. So we cannot use a single pole switch any longer. We're going to take our single pole switch out of this, take this away, and what we're going to do is we're going to use two three-way switches. We've already verified their function, and we're going to mimic either having two hallway switches controlling one light or having two stairway switches controlling one stairway light. So we're going to use our three-way switch that earlier we indicated that they are our 402 switches. So there's a 402 switch and there is a 402 switch. We've indicated common connection, which on this one here is this yellow terminal, and on this one it'll be this yellow terminal. Okay, let's make sure that we first connect our bonds. Just to be safe here. Actually, let's put the green wire on this side. All right. So we've just connected bond to our devices. So what we're going to do in order to make two switches control one light, and you should be able to also make a schematic rendering of what we're doing here, and you should be able to do that in your books. So again, at our bench we have line 2 and identified. So your vertical line on your left will be your line 2 or your live, your hot wire. Your vertical line on your right will be your identified wire. So I'm now going to make a connection from our bench, which is our live conductor, and I'm going to make connection to the common connection of first three-way switch. Okay, and then from my second three-way switch, I'm going to make the common connection here going to my light. Okay, so now I have two terminals on this three-way switch, two yellow terminals on this three-way switch. I'm just going to use different color terminals. So I'm going to just connect these two, this output of this three-way to this input of this three-way switch. And then what I'm going to do is connect this output, I'm going to use a red, to this input on this three-way switch. Okay, so I have made my connections that way there. So now let's just check functionality of this circuitry here, where I should be able to have this light turn on here, turn off here, then go back to here, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, and turn it on, just to show from either switch I can energize and or de-energize my light. Okay, so I turn the power on. From here I flip the switch. Oh, sorry, we're gonna change our connections here because they're probably wrong. There's my problem. I've made my final connection of my identified coming back to my bench, so I have a complete circuit. So I have my line, my live conductor coming to the common of my three-way switch. I have the two outputs of my first three-way switch coming to the two inputs of my second three-way switch. And I've come out the common of my second three-way switch into the black terminal, and then I have my identified conductor coming back to my bench, to my power supply. Okay, so let's turn this on. So when I flip the switch, now my light is energized. Going to my second switch, I should be able to de-energize, and it does. Go back to here, energize, de-energize, energize, de-energize, energize. So from here I can energize, de-energize. From here, energize, de-energize. I can have the switch in this position, on, off, on, off, on, or from here, on, off, on, off, on. All right, so this indicates how I can have two different switches controlling this light from either location. I can turn the light on or I can turn the light off. The connection going to my light here, this is what's referred to as a switch leg. It is taking switched power to my load, being my light. So the connection that is always going to my load, switching power on and off, is referred to as my switch leg. And that's what that wire there is. I have two switches controlling one light from either location. Perfect. We'll turn that one off. The next one that we're going to do here is we are going to add a third switch. So let's say we have a longer hallway, and I'm just going to start from scratch here. Just going to take everything out except for my bond connections. Okay. So in this case here, we had two different locations that we could energize or de-energize our light. Now we want to have a third location, and in order to do that, we're going to put into our circuit a four-way switch, which we indicated earlier was a 403 switch. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep making our connections of bond just to be safe between each one of our boxes. Oops, perfect. There we go. So we're making a new schematic drawing. We're going to show a symbol for a three-way switch. Then we have a four-way switch. Then we'll have a three-way switch. And then we will have a light fixture. All right. Again, your schematic will indicate vertical line on the left will be your hot live conductor, and your vertical on your right-hand side will be your identified conductor. Okay. We will start with the live conductor, the vertical line on the right, sorry, on the left. We will go to the common connection of switch, three-way switch number 1. Then what we'll do from our second three-way common connection, we'll make our switch leg connection to our light. So this is our switch leg connection here. The other side of our light is our identified going back to our source. So this will be the connection on the right side of your drawing, making a connection of identified from my light back to identified power supply. Okay, what you're going to notice here is from each one of my three ways, my common connection, my switch number 1 three-way, the common connection is a live conductor. My other common connection of my second three-way is my switch leg. All right, and then we should be able to just make connection to the conductors in between, and we'll talk about those in a second. coming out of our three-way switch, we're going to go into our four-way switch on that one. Our other output of our three-way switch goes into the other input of our four-way switch. Then on our four-way switch, we're going to come out of this side and come into input here, and then we take our final connection, output of our four-way, input of three-way. What we need to be able to operate here, we have 3 locations that we can, in each location, be able to energize or de-energize our light fixture. All right. Again, the common of our first three-way has power going into it. The common of our second three-way switch has switch leg in it. Okay. We're going to energize, I'll put these all on the same position here. When I turn the power on, you'll see that my light is energized. From switch 1, my three-way, I can de-energize and energize. Okay, I'm going to de-energize my light, go to my second switch, energize, de-energize. Go to my third switch, energize, de-energize. Okay, so if I go back to my first switch, I can energize. Here I can de-energize. Here I can energize